Howdy doody, it's Colin Daniel here. How you doing? I'm from riffninja.com, and I'm in the mood today to answer some questions from my students. And this question comes from Mike, and Mike asked, do I have to switch scales in my solo? And the answer is nope, you don't have to. You can, but you don't have to. And let's take an example. You have to know what key you're in, of course. And you got to remember that we can play whatever scale we play that's related to that key will contain notes that belong in that key. As a matter of fact, if you play the complete scale, like the Diatonic Scale, which is a 7-note scale, that's your most common and most complete scale, right? So say, for example, we're in the key of E major. You know, there's a song by John Mayer called Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, and the chord progression is a C sharp minor, an A major, and an E major, right? So that's in the key of, I'd call it in the key of C sharp minor because it starts on a C sharp minor, but it's relative to E major, right? Okay, so I personally would go for the minor scale just because the minor scale sounds great on the guitar to begin with and it's easy access. So I play a C sharp minor scale, and that's what I base my solo on, right? Now, all the notes, you got to realize that all your notes in the C sharp minor scale there are relative to E major and C sharp minor. What does that mean? Well, that means that these chords, the C sharp minor, the A major chord, and the E major chord, all came out, are all built on the notes that are contained in the C sharp minor scale or the E major scale, either one, right? Because they're relative. Again, the reason why I prefer the C sharp minor scale over the E major is it's much more friendly to play the minor scale than the major. Your string bends line up better, and it sounds, the guitar is tuned to minor, so it's going to lean towards minor to begin with. So now how would I handle this? Well, one thing you have to notice the chord progression, and you'll notice it ends on an E, right? Starts on a C sharp. If it ends on an E, you have to find your E in your scale. You have to know where they are in the scale, right? And that's easy enough to find. You just have to go through your scale and find your E. 3 if I use this particular diatonic scale. So if you want to resolve a riff and you're in E major, you know, or your last chord is E, you might want to think about ending on an E note. You know, so you're going. If I wanted to resolve, you know, so that's how you would use a scale, and that's really modal playing, right? They talk about modal playing all the time. You have 7 notes in a scale, in a diatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8th note is the octave, and it starts again. You can start your scale on any one of those 7 notes, and each one is a mode, and it has a Latin name to it. The way I look at it is that whatever your chord is, you know, if you want to resolve it, whatever is your focal chord for that phrase, in this case, you start on a C sharp, then you play the A major, and then you end on the E. You're going to have to end on an E if you really want it to resolve. There are other notes you can end on. That's a harmony study, but a good place to start and a sure bet is to end on the tonic. Now I'll use the pentatonic scale and the diatonic, and I'll end it just nice and smooth off that E. I usually choose higher notes than lower notes, but so no, you don't have to. You don't have to follow your scales with the chord, but you definitely do have to be aware of where the chord progression begins and ends. And if it ends on a certain chord, then really you should find that note in the scale and try to end your phrase or your riff or your solo or whatever you're doing on that note that coincides with it. Of course, if you're playing fills in between the vocals, then you have to watch for that too. Whatever phrase is happening, wherever the voice ends, and you have to, or wherever the voice starts, and your solo has to end or your fill riff has to end, whatever chord that the progression is on at that point, it would be a good idea to take the single note out of your scale and end your phrase, your riff on that. So those are some hints to handling that. You don't have to change, you don't have to know one scale for each chord change, especially when the chord changes are going faster and you don't have as much time to go in between the changes. It depends on the speed of the song too. But anyways, that should keep you out of trouble for a little bit. And don't forget to subscribe and check out my website. I'm just chucking you a little crumb here. If you want the whole box of crackers, then you got to come to my site and check it out. And yeah, have a good time, have fun. We'll see you soon.